Questions?
We've got answers.
Tune in Tuesdays at 12 on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, where we will be hosting a variety of community experts that will answer your questions.
Please join our gorgeous panel of survivors and Beautiful Self alumni as they discuss life after staying flat. Okay. Hi everyone, how you doing now that we're live? It's Jillian
and Michelle,
and welcome to our Tip Tuesday. And you know, we hope you are all doing amazing and 2021 is being kind to you so far. And you know, what we want to do every week is we want to bring you topics that support our community, not only fighters and survivors, but those that support them. And recently there is a conversation and a trend in the breast cancer community to not have reconstruction after mastectomy. And I just want to say, if you're not a survivor, let me just tell you, these surgeries to reconstruct can be very, very drawn out and painful process. It is not a one size fits all. It's all very complicated. It's not a boob job. And sometimes it's not even an option for women. So it's wonderful to see women in the community coming out and saying, I'm okay without breasts. And we know that's not easy. And we know a lot of you are facing that challenge or know someone that's facing that challenge. So we wanted to ask three amazing stay flat women to share and talk about their experience with staying flat. But first, Michelle, do we have any housekeeping to do?
We do, Jill, and it's a quick minute, and I wanted to share with everyone out there what is on our Beautiful Self website. We've expanded our resources and conversations to include a tribal council. And that is Survivors for Survivors. And you'll see today's square right there, staying flat after mastectomy. And this is paneled conversation or conversations with women that we've met through our community who have so much experience and they want to share it with you. If you want to contact them, if you want to be part of our show, you can be part of the conversation by going to tiptuesday@beautifulself.org, email us. And then I also wanted, as an aside, excuse me, to mention that Victoria, who is one of our guests, is offering our community a 30-minute free distance healing session via code Beautiful Self. She's going to describe a little bit more of that, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. Resources, conversations, our community, Survivors for Survivors. We want to offer that to you, and we would love for you to be part of it. So Jillian, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to just give you a very quick background on the beautiful women that we are about to meet. They are all Beautiful Self alumna. I think it's alumna, not alumni, someone told me. So they are Beautiful Self alumna. We have Marianne. Marianne is one of the most talented artists, I think, I mean, anyone has ever met. Everyone says it that's ever seen her work. She is amazing. Her work is just so, it tells a story. She's an incredibly artistic soul. Her work is so gorgeous and so moving. And I know that we're going to have her social up so you can see. I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful. She did one for me that is unbelievable also. It tells a story. It's hauntingly beautiful. And we're so happy that, you know, she puts her work out there and she came to talk to us today. Then also we have Jessica. Jessica is a very busy social justice activist. I mean, the way she puts herself out there is unbelievable. It is very inspiring what she does for the community. She is also a special education teacher, which I think is incredible. She's also a very busy mom. And I just want to say, one of the things we learned about Jessica, not only does she do all these things for the community and to help others, but she does it also while being labeled legally blind. So there is another challenge that's put in front of her that she doesn't let stop her. And then we also have Victoria. Victoria, you know, I love Victoria's story because after mastectomy, Victoria felt such a change in body and spirit that she began studying and recently completed her Reiki master level certification. And she uses this certification to help others find their strength and their voice, just like it did for her. And she's also a busy mom who's giving back, like Jessica and Marianne, to the community through their special talent. So we are so excited to have them today. And we have a plethora of questions that we want to ask all of you. So what I'm going to do is I will kind of address each of you one at a time. And just to kind of lay the groundwork, if you could just quickly tell us, we'll start with you, Marianne, if that's okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about your breast cancer journey and how you came to stay flat? Was it a personal choice or a medical choice? Oh, you're on mute. It's okay.
I'm good.
There you are. Okay.
I am my journey is a little different than the other women, but we all are in the same place now. So we embrace that. We have each other for this. I was diagnosed when I was 29 with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And from that, I had, back then they gave you radiation. We're talking a long time ago. They gave you mantle radiation. I had a reoccurrence of lymphoma. And then it ended up about in 2014 that I found a lump, and they didn't think anything of it. They thought it was calcification from breastfeeding and weren't worried. And then kind of like we decided to get checked out, and it ended up being a breast cancer from the mantle radiation I had when I was younger. So my journey was different. I went straight to double mastectomy and had reconstruction, and I loved it. And I was happy with it until, within a month I had an infection. And it was my left breast, and it was another infection, and then another infection, and then it was septic, and then it was, we got to get this thing out. And we removed the left breast, and I was with one mound that was a fake implant, and we were talking about maybe making another mound out of my body and it would never look the same, and it would never be. And it just became, I want out, these got to get out.
Yeah, you had been through enough.
So my choice, I used to go flat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. And you know what?
Cancer, and
we're getting a little lag from
say
you.
That,
We're getting a little lag from you, Marianne. So I'm going to move over to Jessica, because I know we're getting a little bit of a delay on your computer. So that's that story right there. We're going to hang on to that. We're going to come back because we have questions for you. Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Sure. I was diagnosed with 7 centimeters of ductal. Today is exactly 4 years. Today is my 4-year mastectomy anniversary. So the fact that you asked me to come on today, I don't believe in coincidences. And it was because today's normally a very difficult day. And this is a nice way to have my lunch break. So initially it was 7 centimeters of DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ. It was aggressive, so I had to have the mastectomy quite quickly. I was diagnosed early December, and then January 26, 2017 was my double mastectomy, and some of it was invasive. And going flat was what I wanted to do. It was never a question. From the second I got the diagnosis, I knew that it just wasn't for me to have the implants. It didn't feel right. So you said
enough. I've been through enough. I'm good.
Yeah, it didn't resonate with me to have more surgery.
Okay. And now I'm going to ask Victoria, what was your situation?
I was diagnosed with stage 2B triple negative breast cancer in late June of 2017 with affected lymph nodes. And for me, it was a very, very difficult decision. I was very large breasted. Everybody was just like, what are you doing? I didn't have anybody in my life. I got a lot of comments about, well, what if you meet somebody and this isn't okay. This isn't if I meet somebody, then they should, I guess they'll just have to like me for me, I even remember in a support group being asked, well, what would your daughter think? Because my daughter was 16 at the time. And I was like, maybe she would think that my personality or me being comfortable with myself is far more important than whether or not I have breasts. Like who I am on the inside is more important than what I look like on the outside. And you know, like Jessica, I wasn't okay with having implants. I wasn't okay with having a flap surgery because I was kickboxing 5 days a week, and I'm like, I'm not having anything interfere with my core.
I love it.
You know, it's like I'm active. I don't want to have surgery after surgery, and
so it was a choice. You were like, you know what, it's lifestyle. So I'm going to choose better lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
So I love hearing all the background stories. I know our audience will love hearing all the background stories because it is not a boob job. It is not easy. We are all not the same. The surgeries that women go through to rebuild breasts, sometimes you have 15 surgeries. They take your butt, they build breasts, they take your stomach, they build breasts, things get infected, as Marianne said. So now that we kind of know a little bit of background, I want to ask each of you this question. If you could just give me like, what comes immediately? So Marianne, did it affect your self-confidence going flat?
Yes.
It did.
It did.
What did you do to overcome it, or do you still work with it?
I still work with it. But I think the fact that I'm artistic and I'm quirky in the way I dress, I always mind so much that I'm going to try something new. And so I became, you know, I started to dress the part, you know, and I say that this is my new sexy. It's this nice little spot here, you know, it doesn't have to be dressed. So you find your thing. It's a totally work in progress, but I think I was a work in progress before all this. So
we're all a work in progress. And like you said, you express through your art, which we love. And by the way, Marianne, I will say, and we talked at your beautiful self session because we are kind of the same thought, even though I did not have a double mastectomy, that we don't think you need hair and boobs to be sexy. So having said that, okay, Jessica, let me ask you, did it affect your self-confidence, and do you still work to overcome it, or you're good with it?
It worked the opposite way. I actually became more self-confident.
Okay.
From the second my drains came out and I was wearing a tank top at the doctor's office, and I love this picture of myself. Like, I was so happy. I had massive boobs on my small frame. I was a like 36 triple D. Whoa. And I never felt thin. And it was the first time I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I'm thin. I didn't know that. And it has been helpful in my self-esteem. Like, it has made me embrace who I am inside versus how much emphasis I actually put on hiding my chest. I was never one to flaunt my chest.
One of the things that stands out to us, and I remember when you submitted to Beautiful Self, was the picture you submitted. It was so loud and proud of you, like breastless, just standing there, and you were like, here I am. And we will never forget that. Yeah. We were like, oh yeah.
Thank you.
And the shirt that said, I have no tits.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I sit with my shoulders back. I never used to do that. I was hunched over and hiding my chest when I was younger, up until 4 years ago.
I love that. I think it's too, like, you know, just stupid little things. Like, I remember my head shaving party, that was empowering to me. I still I want to go back to an absolutely shaved head. I think it's empowering. So whatever makes you feel good. Okay. Victoria, did it affect your confidence, and does it still? And how do you overcome it if it does?
I'm like Jessica. It affected me in a positive way. I've just become more open with who I am. I sit up straighter. You know, I was 34 double D. You know, I was always like this. I always felt people were more focused on my breasts than on what I had to say. And now they hear me. So yeah, it was a good impact. I could wear things that I never would have worn with, you know, that I wanted to wear, but I never would have considered wearing with large breast. You know, so it was definitely. And
so you feel empowered by it?
I feel empowered. Even like my daughter, you know, like, she's such a great supporter, because she turned around and said to me one day, she's like, I've never seen you more comfortable in your skin.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. And it's just like, you know what, you're right. I am more comfortable now, you know.
I think it's really beautiful to get the three opinions, because I think this is what's out there. And, you know, not that breasts are comparable to hair, but these are the two big things that we talk about. Some women are fine with a shaved head. Some women they would rather sweat to death than take the wig off, right? some women, it's very, you have to get used to being breastless and what happens. We're going to talk about. Other women are going to be empowered by it. So I like that we have this mix on the panel because it's very real as to what happens in the community. You are going to get that mixed. So, Marianne, question: how, and if people do, like when we go out, we've all been bald, right? So people immediately look, and it's a moment, and then you get that, oh, they look away immediately. Like they don't know what to do. So they look and they look away. Do you find, since you're like, you're so artistic and now you're dressing the part and you're out there, that do people notice that you're flat? And if they do you find you get a reaction from it? And how does that make you feel? Or no, people don't?
Well, I think now, especially since doing a lot of the advocacy work, like my friends here, and doing your sessions and stuff like that, I think that being flat is part of my body now. I'm definitely learning. And yes, I do have the confidence because I've done all these photo shoots and stuff like that. And you end up you feel phenomenal. And you do end up walking a little differently. And yeah, and I think, I wear a scarf every day. That's just my fashion. But when it's like the people who don't know, I look forward to telling them in a conversation that, can be had. And then the people that do know, I know that I stand a little taller, like, yes, I did this. And I think since I wasn't given the option of going flat in the reconstruction when I was going through surgeries, it wasn't even in the books. Now it is, thank God, but I still, since it wasn't given to me as a choice and I chose the breasts, I liked the way it worked with my body. And I wasn't big, chested, but I was proportional. So now it's just a not being proportion. But yes, I am walking out that door with, I got this.
No one really looks, right? No one. And if they're looking, it's because you're putting yourself in a fashion show or doing something on that level.
Right.
People are looking here.
And I really want to show it off,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we can say we've seen all of you naked and you're all beautiful. Okay. You're all spectacular.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, Jessica, do you get a reaction more or less than you thought? Does it bother you, or how do you react to it?
I don't, initially, I think the first time I went out 4 years ago was to a fundraiser for Jonas's school, my 13-year-old school. He turned 13 yesterday. There was a dad who just literally just stared at my chest, but he knew I had the mastectomy. But other than that one incident, and now this, my eyesight has deteriorated quite a bit since then. So I wouldn't necessarily notice if they were looking down at my chest, but I don't think so. It was when I had big breasts, I felt like everybody was looking at my breasts. Now I don't think of it that they think I don't have breasts at all. I think they just think I'm super flat chested.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And Victoria, same for you?
Same for me. I mean, it's a funny story.
Go on, girl.
funny story. So when I was diagnosed, there was somebody that a friend of mine, all he ever did was stare at my chest. I caught him staring at me and I looked and I just started laughing. And I was like, you know what, go ahead, look at them while they're still there. I had already made my decision and he didn't know what was going on. And he's like, what was that comment? And I remember saying to us, I said, enjoy them while they're still there because they're going to be gone soon. And that was kind of the way I told him that I had breast cancer. And hanging out with him afterwards, he didn't treat me any differently. We've been friends for over 20 years. It's scary, but yeah, I've definitely noticed that I don't think that people stare at me differently. I still get hit on the same amount that I got hit on before,
Yes. I love that. Okay. So I want to say I love that what you ladies are saying, because I think that there is a big misconception out there that if you lose your breasts, you lose your sensuality and you lose your sexiness. And it's so ridiculous. There are actresses out there like Kate Hudson and Keira Knightley that basically just have nipples and they're so sexy, So I think that I love that you guys are saying this, that people didn't look at you differently. People didn't go, look down. I had a theory. I don't care, man, woman, whatever. People just look at skin. So if you got a dress cut down to here, whether you're stay flat, your boobs are hanging out, whatever it is, small check, like they're just looking at skin because it's like, oh, skin. People can't like they just look at skin. So I love that you're saying this. Okay, so then Victoria, I'm going to ask you a question. I'll go back. I'll go backwards on the panel. Do people ever want to ask you about it and don't know how to approach you? And would you tell someone this is how you need to approach it? Stay flat. If you're curious, this is how you should approach it. Is it insulting?
Definitely don't find it insulting. I don't know that I haven't met anybody and had them say, oh my God, you're flat. Except I guess within the breast cancer community, I've been asked, well, was that a choice, or, and even like when I was working on support group, on a support helpline, it was always, if you're making this decision, do what's right for you, right? Like you can ask other people's opinions. Definitely not insulted by it though. I mean, it's information.
Okay.
It's an opportunity to educate somebody.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Especially now that it's out in the open. It's not
right.
shameful in a way. It's it's actually an option. It's a medical option now, right? To get aesthetically flat closure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And actually I was talking to a behavioral clinician the other day from a hospital, and she was like, I wish there was more conversations about this because it's becoming so bigger and bigger in the community. By the way, I want to say hi to, we have a lot of people out there, Michelle Swartz, who has done Beautiful Self and recently has become a stay flat herself. So, hey, we just want to say hi to you and know that, and that's amazing. So power to you. And how about you, Jessica? Do you ever say, all right, I'm going to have to teach people how to approach me on this, or do you prefer that they ask you, they don't ask you?
I don't know if anyone in person has so much asked that, but one of the reasons, 4 years ago was when I started my Instagram, and I think it was Flat After Mastectomy it profiled my journey from the night before, where I kind of was just in a bra and panties, and kind of the healing journey. But then my focus has really evolved and into social justice and racial justice.
Yes.
But I keep the Flat After Cancer because people still reach out to me for advice and lots of questions. And I still get that a lot. And I don't ever want to not be accessible or not be a resource that way. I just want to go back to something that you had said. The pushback. So when I think when any of us, it wasn't an option that the surgeons were like, oh, do you want to stay flat or do you want to have aesthetically flat closure, which is a brand new term. There was so much pushback from everybody to have reconstruction. Even my ex-husband called and he said, don't you want to have reconstruction? And I'm like, you didn't want to have anything to do with my boobs when we were married. Why do you give a shit about my boobs now?
You don't get them now.
And I think part of what was empowering was making this decision and knowing that this decision was mine. And the plastic surgeon who said I would never feel like a woman. I would never feel like a complete woman again, and I would 100% regret it.
I'm sorry, was that a time capsule you went? Was your doctor from 1952?
No, but this is interesting. And to his defense, because I recently wrote about that on someone's Instagram post and tagged them, they called me, the office called me and apologized profusely. And they said, since they met me, they offered as an option to every breast cancer survivor that comes for surgery. So that I was like, wow. So I think part of what was empowering was, as hurtful and as hard as that was that day in the plastic surgeon's office, that was the first time I broke down crying because he's like, no, hold these, try these. But after that, I think I've just become a stronger person by knowing this was what was right for me.
Yeah.
And sticking to that, it was.
I love the stand your ground. Very different. I'm not a stay flat, but I was at an A cup before. They handed me C cups if I needed reconstruction. Feel these, like you said. I was like, I've never seen. It's like, oh, but your hips and I'm like, dude, calm down. Calm down.
Who?
Yeah. Says who I would look better as a C. It's not 1995. I keep going back to the eras when the boobs were in, or this was in, or that was in. Marianne, how do you feel about people approaching you on the subject, or do you ever have to say, let me help you approach this?
I've had a couple of, it's interesting because unlike everyone else, I feel like I've, had my natural breasts. I had reconstruction, so I had implants. Yes. Then I was unilateral for 1.5 years. So I was a uni and then it was becoming flat. And what's interesting, I think the hardest place for me to be was unilateral. So I give a lot of praise to those women who just choose that.
Totally.
I could not do that. Totally. Same. Goddesses. Now, yes, I've been approached where like, people I work with are, just their conversations like, well, you can get reconstruction if you want to, right? And I'm like, so-and-so I know who's had aunt's cousin had same thing and then had a depth flat, all this stuff. And I know their intentions are good. I think they just can't wrap their head around something that we are now comfortable with that makes them kind of like we're not the norm. We're becoming the norm. Right. And, look, I know these ladies and I know what we've done and I know what we all knew each other. We're all linked together in a really beautiful way. Yeah. And it's because of this. So what we found out of all of this is something that, we can't.
I know, it's beautiful. It's so powerful and it's so beautiful. And I'm so glad y'all are talking about it. So we're heading kind of towards the end of the show and I want to ask 2 questions, okay, to each of you. So Victoria, can you tell me, I don't know if you're dating, I don't know your situation, but has this come up in either, with a partner or a spouse, or have you had to approach it?
I have.
Was it awkward? Were you like, listen, dude, just so you know, not an erogenous zone anymore?
See, I didn't, because we've known each other since we were 20. So he knew me before, but we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And so, yeah, it obviously it had to come up at some point, but honestly, like his reaction, and I kind of hope he doesn't see this because
you won't mention his name.
Every time he looks at me, he's like, "How are you so beautiful?"
Oh, now we can mention his name
because we're still like, I don't know where we are right now, so we can't.
Oh, got it. Okay. But still, listen, anybody saying that who known you for 20 years, who knew you before and knew you after, to still see you, because it's an amputation. So if you lose your leg, are you not still beautiful? Yeah. If you lose an arm, are you not still beautiful? Right. If you lose your breast, are you not still beautiful?
Yeah.
Okay, we all went, oh. Yeah. Okay. So Jessica, any situation for you come up?
I mean, it hasn't been an issue. I think initially I was like, maybe I think I would say it on the first date, like, so I have no boobs, or however I did it. And there was one man I dated who was hilarious. And I hold this with me. He's like, 45-year-old boobs aren't exactly the hottest thing anyway. So when I think back, like mine would have been really saggy and down low. And I always thought they looked better in a bra anyway. So no, it really hasn't been an issue. I will tell you what makes me more insecure is using a vision stick. So now it's like, right, I have no tits and I have a vision. So that part is a little bit trickier, but no, so the non-boobs really, I would say it has improved the caliber of men that I date, right? Because probably the men that I used to date wouldn't have dated me. So I feel like I'm dating a better caliber of men.
Take that to the bank, Stay Flats. And Marianne, how about you? Any situation come up?
I got nothing on that.
Okay, nothing on that. Okay, so how about this?
But I will say it's a lot about self-love now, more than anything. I'm learning my self-love. So that's
self-love, the most important. It's actually, we had a sex therapist on a couple of weeks ago, and she was just like, self-love first, ladies, in every way possible. And I was like, that's right. Okay. So then, as we close up, I'm going to ask you all to give a woman that is either is being forced to stay flat or is deciding whether or not to stay flat. If you could give her a pro and maybe a word of encouragement about it. That's how I'd love to take this show out. Victoria, we'll start with you.
A pro.
What's a pro of staying flat?
Tons of money saved on bras. I'm not having bras.
Okay.
And embrace your truth. Do what's true for you, not anybody else, because that's the only way you're going to be happy with it.
Okay. Jessica?
I completely agree. I think if you are doing what you feel is right for you, like Victoria said, then you will embrace it. And then of course, if you have a session with beautiful self, like that will just change your whole world and your whole perception of yourself. But community, I can't go without saying that in December 2016, there were almost no flat pictures. My surgeon didn't have a flat picture. The second plastic surgeon I met with who I wanted to do flat closure didn't have a picture, but I had Marianne's picture.
Oh, her pictures.
From the New York Times. So Marianne was there for me from day one. And I thought Marianne looked sexy AF without breasts. So, I mean, from day one, Marianne knows how much I love her. I have my own personal Marianne Duquette picture in my bedroom, one of her gorgeous drawings. So Marianne and all of our friend Kiara, who unfortunately has passed away, the community. And then Victoria reached out to me, that June. So I was January, then Victoria was June. And then we met at the fashion show, at Anna Ono fashion show.
I met both of you that night, actually.
So the pay it forward is within the community, and it's really, it's sadly fast, but there is such an incredible love and support that I don't think I could have gotten through so positively and happily had it not been for this community. And just like so #flat, and my thing was flat after mastectomy, I think.
It's so great. Okay, so amazing. Community. The pros to you is all about the community, and the encouragement is all about the community. Marianne, a pro of staying flat and a little word of encouragement.
I have to say the community as well. I mean, and I say this, and I say about all of us, we lost a lot, but we gained more. And it's just as simple as that. I mean, we really, our community and what we've done for each other, and anyone who's going through this, I really encourage to meet with us, or meet people in your, get to know people. And it's just the advice you're not going to get from a doctor or someone else, or your best friend who has no idea what even breast cancer is about, let alone any other cancer. It's something that we have that we gotta, keep it going, keep the support of each other, and not keep it together, for each other. And I love the fact that, the way Jessica and Victoria and I have met, and how, I met Jessica at, Rebecca Pine's Breast in the Sea. And that's when I first saw the beautiful self pictures of her, that I was like, oh, I got to do that. So it goes to you guys too, that, that you've done what you've done for us as well, and continue to do for everyone. So.
It's community. It's community, right? Well, I want to say this is what I've taken away as we close out this show. And by the way, we've got a lot of people out here, and it's so nice. Michelle Brown is watching, Michelle Schwartz, and Victoria, your friend Trisha, is out there supporting you, talking about how beautiful you were before and after. So it's really nice to see the community come together. You're all amazing. And I want to say you are definitely icons in the community.
Yes.
You really are, because you're putting it out there. So it's all about feeling it. You are sexy. It doesn't matter. The community supports you. Be with the right man or partner. If you're same partner, be with the right partner, and they're going to find you beautiful anyway. Ask questions. It's fine. Ask those questions. We are here to help you find us. Marianne, I can't wait for everyone to go and look at your art. Your art is incredible. Jessica, I know we have your social. We'll put it up. If you are even thinking about being a community activist, or a, how do you say it? Like a racial activist, right?
Racial justice, social justice.
Okay, social justice. You want to be part of what she's doing. She's incredible. Victoria, you just keep taking that energy healing to the next level. And thank you for offering to our thrivers and survivors a 30-minute, use the code Beautiful Self, a 30-minute complimentary session for Reiki.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that beautiful? So please sign up for that. We love our community. We love you gals so much. You have no idea. And thank you for taking the time out of your day. We know it's not easy to come in and sharing yourselves with the world. And we hope to get you back again on whatever next cool conversation we're having in this arena. It would be great. Thank you for coming. We will be back next week, where It's
Or
me.
that girl.
I'm just I'm the guest star
beauty.
next week, but next week is a
Yay.
beauty show. So hope to see you
Color
guys
of
there.
love.
We're going to talk about the color of love and everything. So as always, I want to thank our amazing panel. Thank you out there, the thrivers, the fighters, the supporters, the caregivers. We love you so much. Stay strong, stay positive, no matter what. You are beautiful. And we'll see you all next week. I have chills from the show. I love you, ladies. Michelle
you
loves you. We all
too.
love you. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Mwah.
you for having us. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.